Hello there folks, and happy continual Christmas, happy New Year, and everything that has been going on for the past weeks. Normally this video I usually do at New Year's Eve or maybe the day before that. Something got between, so a little bit late maybe, but make accent on little. Comes here the annual top 10 findings of the year, and I hope that Christmas and the New Year's Eve were good to you. And outside here now it is a really great sunny winter day, actually. A little bit cold though. So let's start with going through the record finding year 2024. 2024 was an okay year. Maybe summer was a little weak. The autumn was also a little weak. But on the other hand, it has been raining jazz vinyls all over me the entire year. Some might ask, have I stopped buying other stuff? Am I only collecting jazz nowadays? No, but of course not. But when it comes to other genres, there's a little bit more limited amount of records to find. I mean, Depeche Mode, for instance, have their records that I have now complete of, plus some bootlegs, of course. While it is almost impossible to be complete when it comes to Benny Goodman or Count Basie or Duke Ellington, because there are so many different stuff as live recordings, radio recordings, 78 transferred to vinyl, and also regular studio, ordinary vinyl releases. So you can't get complete with jazz. At least when it comes to classic jazz. So as you have seen, there has been vinyl CD update specials in numerous cases during the year, and we'll see what happens in 2025. Will this continue? Who knows? But now let's check up what have been the best findings of 2024, the usual top 10. So starting off with number 10, we come to one of my favorite bands, and I'm not going to say that this is this band's best album. It is a good album, a really good album, but it is a middle album, and I'm talking about the Pet Shop Boys and their second newest album, Hotspot. As I said, a middle album that doesn't have the special hit feelings like many of their previous stuff had, but it's definitely a good album, has some really, really great stuff. But it is their second latest albums, and I don't find their latest stuff all that much. But here I managed during the summer to find this for $3, released in 2020. So I felt like it was natural to have it as a 10th spot in the best finding of the year. Number 9, coming to a record finding moment that was very special. It was in March or April when our record store here, Vinyl Stallet, had a sellout of old jazz records. That was in really fine quality, and I bought a whole lot, and then I went out to the Lake Seedson and filmed there what I found. Another of those vinyl CD updates special. But one of those made it to this top 10, and it's this one. Teddy Wilson, The Delicate of Swing. Released on Story Wheel, and this is 1940s swing. It is recorded in 1945, and it is 40s swing in all its glory. We have Charlie Chavez, Fred Norvo, Teddy Wilson, Remo Palmieri, Al Hall, Tex Powell, and it is a really well played swing album. 40 small band swing, as I really like it. And I never heard actually of Remo Palmieri there all that much, but now I got to hear him for real, and it sounded surprisingly well how good he was as a guitar player. So definitely worth a 9 spot in this chart. Number 8, we have we're going to the 60s. Not often I buy 60s music all that much, but when I find something really good that I want, I buy it, of course. And this is a song that is one of my favorites when it comes to 60s song. It is a really great and groovy. Not a single with this proper sleeve. If it had, it maybe might have been a little bit higher up. But I wanted to have it, and it was when I found Spencer Davis Group, I'm a Man, on 45. I really like this song. It's also, of course, made by Chicago. And to be honest, as much as I love this version of Spencer Davis Group, I might love Chicago's version even more. But this is an amazing song, and I also love Spencer Davis' version with Steve Winwood's organ and really amazing groove. And I'm so happy to find it on 45, even though it wasn't with a proper sleeve. But as we say, I don't listen with the sleeve. Number 7, a record that I found at our spring record fair. As you might have guessed, it will be a whole lot of jazz on this chart. Half of the records here, of the 10 records I'm showing, is jazz related, such as this, with a really nice musician that done a lot of maybe unusual recordings. He's been playing Swedish folk music in one record, and here he took a bunch of classical Baroque masterpieces and turned them into a really nice jazz arrangement. There are, of course, other stuff here also, not only jazz, but there are a lot of Bach stuff here, and we're talking about Art Farmer and Baroque sketches. And this is a really exciting and interesting record, a really great one, where he manages to take classical music and put them in a new place and makes interesting music sound even more interesting. Very special, and still sounds jazz, but you can feel the classical energy in it, of course. So definitely a very special album finding this year. Number 6, coming to a record I found at the record store, Vinylstallet, and it is a record that made me a little change my value a bit, because when it comes to Earth, Wind and Fire, everybody has said that this album is the best one, though I have still considered All in All and I Am my really favorites of Earth, Wind and Fire. But when I bought this one and listened to it, I had to wave a white flag and realize they were right. As much as I do love All in All and I Am, and I do love them, this was so amazing groovy, and it will be seen as my favorite Earth, Wind and Fire album. Talking of That's the Way of the World, from 1975, which was a soundtrack originally from a movie called That's the Way of the World. But Earth, Wind and Fire, who is the main feature in that film, realized that this might not have been the best career move we have made when they saw the result of the movie. So they decided to release this album before the movie to secure a success of the album. And the movie became a failure, but the record became a success. Success was released way before the movie. Smart way of Earth, Wind and Fire. And this is a really, really amazing groovy and funky album. Number 5. Here we come to now we're going back into the jazz world again, and coming to some records that I found maybe only a couple of months ago. The Swiss store Erikshjälpen, who is no longer being called Erikshjälpen. It's nowadays it's called Mitt Second Hand, and I never get used to that name. But there anyway, they have lately gotten in a bunch of records, fine records with early jazz. We're talking early 30s and 20s jazz, and some of them are really, really amazing. But the creme de la creme of them were this at the 5th place. Benny Moten, a double album set, 3 of them. We have this, and we have this, and we have this. All of them 2 record sets, $4 each. And Benny Moten, for those who doesn't know, was Count Basie band before Count Basie, you might call it, because Benny Moten was leading this band, and as you can see, Count Basie, he played with the band before Benny Moten died in 1935, I think, and Count Basie was picked to take over the band, and he created the now famous Count Basie Orchestra. But I heard very little, too little with Benny Moten. But it is very much inspired by big band, but still also has a foot in the regular 20s jazz. But it is a really, really fantastic to have these. Released also on one of my current favorite labels, the RCA's French Black and White series. So these Jazz Tribune albums with Benny Moten are really, really fantastic findings this year. And we're staying with early jazz that are even earlier. But we're shrinking the vinyl form from regular vinyl albums to 10-inch. At number 4, we have 3 other records with really early jazz, 10-inch records released in the 50s. Talking about these. It could only the fact that they are 50s 10-inch records should be enough. But also we have Johnny Doss Washboard Band and his trio with tracks from 28 to 29. We have Dick Biderback and his Wolverines with recordings from 1924. But one we have Original Dixieland Jazz Band with recordings from 1917 and 18. And as it says here, historic recordings of the first record, jazz music. Original Dixieland Jazz Band are considered the first jazz band ever. And their recordings are also then considered the first jazz recordings ever. And to have this, even though I'm not a huge Dixieland fan, but to have this is really, really awesome, great. Of course, this is the earliest jazz recordings that I have so far, what I know, but I have hard time seeing that I will find anything older. But it is an honor to have this. If we're talking jazz history deluxe, so these three, I could have picked this one only, but these ones are also really fantastic findings. So I take all three of them at this fourth spot. Coming to number 3, and we have leaving jazz now for a while, and going to a band that when this album came out was shattered. They were in pieces, more or less. But the record label wanted them to release one more record. So they took the recording from one of their concerts and released them as a live album. I'm talking about Eagles Live from 1980. And some have considered this one of the most overdubbed live albums. But I don't see that makes this any worse. I think this still is a fantastic live album. Glenn Frey, from what I've heard, was not a part of this when they dubbed this another time, and he has already left the band back then. That's how unfriendly we were to each other. But this is a really, really great live album, a really, really awesome album. And what I also find very, very funny in some form is that they actually take the time to give a special thanks to their lawyers. They the band members separate lawyers here. I guess for making kind of a deal so they could release this. This I like this album very, very much. It is a really, really great live album. Now getting close at the second spot, number 2, silver, goes to something nostalgic. In 2011 I was in Stockholm, and I was at a culture event at the Hedvig Eleonora Church, and there they had arranged for a vocal group that sings Gregorian chants to perform. Normally I'm not that huge fan of Gregorian chants, but this was something special because they had arranged with light synthesizer sound in the background that sounded really, really good, and with the acoustic in the church that are enormous big, it made my jaw drop because it was so fantastic beautiful. And I have wanted to get a hold of a record with this band called Vox Archangeli ever since. But this year I managed to find this finally, Sanctus Michael. Of course now I don't have the acoustic in the church, of course, so it can't be the same, but it is still fantastic sound, fantastic, well made, and a nice way to take Gregorian chants and do something really special with it without removing it from its religious feeling. So this is fantastic finding that I really wanted to have, and finally I got it. So now, as usual, I'm going to show some albums from the year that are outside of this chart. Call it honorable mentions. That shares the 11th spot, going from January to December, of course. So here comes a little mix of other records that I have found during the year as an honorable mention. So, now, after that, it's time to reveal who is number one. And the best finding of the year goes to 7 records, or should I say 7 EPs, because there's also been a fantastic year for jazz EPs. I found so much jazz EPs this year. And in October there were a retro fair here, where they're selling old video games, selling comics, selling action figures and so on, and some also sold records. And there was one lady who sold 7 inches for 50 cents each, and there were a lot of jazz there, and I dug and found a whole lot of great stuff there, not knowing how really good they were, because I normally don't go after value that much. But when there seems to be valuable, it's of course really, really fun. So I found Paul Blake's Jazz Messenger, Le Liaison d'Angelo, sorry, my bad French. We have a Tommy Flanagan trio recorded in Stockholm. We have then 5 EPs with Swedish jazz. Trumpet player Jan Allan. And my favorite musician, Swedish musician, Lars Gullin. We have Gullin, Rolf Billberg Quintet. More with Rolf Billberg, Lars Gullin Sextet. We have a quintet. And especially we have this, with my favorite singer, Monica Zetterlund. Only this itself is fantastic. But then I decided I'm going to do a check on what they can be worth actually. And found out that each and every one of these are worth more than $10. And this one was worth around $25. And this one was worth $68. I paid 50 cents for it. So if that isn't worth a top spot here, I don't know what. And I was debating with myself whether I should take only this or all 7. But since all 7 are such a fantastic findings, I wanted them to share the top spot. So number 1 finding of the year are these 7 amazing jazz EPs. And of course with this in the front. So that was my 2024. Now what does 2025 has to offer? That is still an unwritten book, and time will tell, of course. We will start writing it today. So let's hope for new findings in 2025. So I hope that every one of you have a really nice time in the new year, and no matter where you are, no matter what you do, take care and Happy New Year to everybody.